Question: are all cops bad? Another question is, are there any good cops? I'll let you answer that question, but we've seen time and time again in the past with video after video that most of the bad cops are the ones training the other cops. They're the field training officers, they're the instructors, they're the sergeants, they're the ones that are in higher level positions who have underlings at their command. And this is just another example of instructor cops who are just as corrupt as the cops they're training. So this is another case of criminals training criminals. Take a listen to this.
Now at 5:30, questions about who's training new police officers in Massachusetts. A months-long WBZ investigation has uncovered some pretty serious complaints against dozens of instructors at the state's police academies. Thank you for staying with us. I'm Courtney Cole.
And I'm Lisa Hughes. WBZ's Louisa Moeller shows us how the state committee in charge has changed its code of conduct since she started asking questions.
There is no such thing as a routine traffic stop.
This is a video shown to police officers in training this year by the Municipal Police Training Committee.
There's no such thing as a routine traffic stop. Is there such a thing as a constitutional traffic stop? I mean, is officer safety really important during a traffic stop, or is it really public safety that's being jeopardized? And do you remember this police training video? This was, I think, a couple years ago that we covered this. Listen to the person who was conducting this training. Check this out.
Committee or MPTC.
For passenger side approach, the advantages include element of surprise.
And the officer doing the demo, he's not legally allowed to be a police officer in Massachusetts. That's former Hudson police officer Kevin Johnson. This video taken of him before his certification to be an officer was suspended by the state last year. MPTC still showing it to police recruits even after he was convicted of a misdemeanor crime.
A misdemeanor crime, you say? Let's go back just a little bit here. Officer Kevin Johnson may also be on the juice, but they're not saying anything about that. So let's look at this misdemeanor crime. What exactly are they calling a misdemeanor crime? And what would it be classified as if you committed the same action as Officer Kevin Johnson? Listen.
This video taken of him before his certification to be an officer was suspended by the state last year. MPTC still showing it to police recruits even after he was convicted of a misdemeanor crime. Court documents state Johnson was arrested for assaulting and kicking a man in the head and pushing his girlfriend.
Assaulting, kicking a man in the head, and then pushing his girlfriend is a misdemeanor crime? Now, if you or I committed that same crime, because we don't have the luxury of qualified immunity, we would probably have a felony. No doubt we would have a felony on our record. But that's not going to be applied to the account and the record of Officer Kevin Johnson.
PC and its instructors are in charge of training every new police officer at academies like this one across the state, with training for current officers online. So we wanted to know who else is teaching the police officers of tomorrow. WBZ obtained a list of MPTC's roughly 2,500 instructors. Salem State University interim captain Stephen Turcotte is on there. Turcotte was the subject of a 2012 WBZ I-Team investigation. Salem State settled a lawsuit against him, accusing him of sexual harassment and gender discrimination. In total, WBZ found 46 MPTC instructors with serious sustained complaints against them. 3 who had their MPTC instructor certifications suspended since we started investigating. 1 had their instructor certification reinstated after an appeal.
And they're not done yet. That's just what they found. And that's just what was documented by the police department. We've seen time and time again where they don't even record the transgression that the cop committed unless it's actually caught on camera, body cam or dash cam, or somebody saw it or multiple witnesses come forward, and then they push all this stuff under the rug. This is just what we know about. Imagine all the things that we don't know about that they're guilty of. And remember, a stream can rise no higher than its source. If the source is the commanding officer, the instructor, then the stream can rise no higher than that source, which means if the stream is corrupted, If the source is corrupted, the rest of the stream is going to be corrupted.
Among them, we found officers accused of falsifying timesheets, others involved in alleged domestic violence. Arrested, then arrested again for violating a order against the same victim, off-duty assault and battery, another accused of illegal drug use, an officer accused of consuming alcohol before their shift, yet another allegedly used a police information system to conduct searches on 7 people unrelated to his police work.
And that right there is an example of why you wouldn't want to give ID. You start giving ID to a cop when you don't have to, they create a data entry. There's a data point with your name and your social security number and your address right next to it. So now they're collecting and compiling a dossier on you. So never, ever relinquish your ID. Never let them make you feel insecure in your person's houses, papers, and effects.
46 in violation of the NPTC's Code of Conduct.
It starts with a small transgression, and that becomes something that's accepted. Then it leads to another one, and that becomes accepted.
Larry Smith is a former Massachusetts State Police sergeant who runs a firm that investigates law enforcement. He argues NPTC's issues stem from its leadership, under the helm of Executive Director Robert Ferrulo, who retired this week. In April, WBZ revealed a...
How convenient. Because if you retire when you're under investigation, they stop your investigation and you get to keep all your benefits, including your pension. How convenient. Oh, all that crime that he committed and all the crime that was committed under his command, well, we can't do anything about it now. He's in a safe zone. He retired. He gets everything that he worked for. He doesn't even see one day of jail time.
Stoneham police officer who resigned from his job for allegedly saying the N-word was an NPTC instructor. The committee subsequently decertified him. Last summer, WBZ's I-Team learned a cheating investigation was underway at 2 NPTC academies, and 4 student officers were disciplined at the time.
The executive director that is in charge, he was in charge for all of these.
NPTC told us in a statement, the Municipal Police Training Committee remains deeply committed to ensuring that our staff and nearly 2,500 instructors uphold the highest standards of integrity, competence, and professionalism. The committee says it started a notification process where the state's Police Oversight Commission, called POST, will alert them if an officer is suspended or decertified. And it's now requiring instructors to self-report complaints against them. Here's the governor. Do you think there needs to be a deeper...
Okay, this is going to be your punishment. Now, if there's ever a complaint against you, you need to self-report it. You need to police yourself. Investigate yourself, find out if you've committed any wrongdoing, and then report that to us. And then we'll make sure the public hears about it. Frickin' BS. If you're on a roadside traffic stop and they say, hey, you committed an infraction, and you pulled that on them and you said, you know what, officer? Thank you very much for bringing that to my attention. I promise you I will investigate myself and I'll find out if I committed any wrongdoing and I'll get back with you. See if that'll wash with them. It won't.
Probe into the people who are training the police of tomorrow in the state.
I'm committed to, as a former attorney general and now as governor, making sure that we have the right personnel and people in place when it comes to all public safety matters.
Louisa Moeller, WBZ News.
Bunch of frickin' nonsense. And this is another incident where when cops are highlighted, or there are cops in the higher echelon, in other words, when they're highlighted, for example, Matthew Schneider from the Glendale, Arizona Police Department, who literally tortured Johnny Wheatcroft in front of his children, including tasing him almost a dozen times, including 2 times in the private parts, like I said, in front of his screaming kids, and then he doesn't see 1 day of jail time. He's acquitted, he's let go to be free, he's got his pension intact, and nothing substantial happens to Matthew Schneider. Nothing substantial happens to any of these instructors, and they're the worst of the worst. And this is another example of why people say, hey, all cops are bad. If the instructors, if the leaders are bad, how bad do you think the cadets are going to be, the people who are being trained by them? You can never expect anything but turds to float out of the sewer. Leave your thoughts about this for the world and the global thought police in the comment section below. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification icon, give it a thumbs up, share it with everybody you know. Don't forget to subscribe to my email list through my website, highimpactflix.com. Subscribe to my brand new channel. It's a political channel where we expose the left versus right, dog and pony show, political nonsense and circus under the big top. Remember, give us bread and circuses and we shall never revolt, says Voltaire. But subscribe over there. I'll leave that link in the description and the pinned comment for you. If you want to support the channel further, grab a shirt, become a channel member, but more importantly, know what your rights are and exercise your rights every single day. Rights are scary. The only thing more scary is not having rights. I will see you in the next video.